Today, we're going to be unboxing a species that almost never shows up in captivity, be it in private collections or even zoos. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why. Well, folks, here's the crazy part. Due to some crazy legal protections that are, in my opinion, quite vague, that shut down basically, if not all, wild-caught animals from coming into the global reptile hobby, and most breeders ignoring them because they're not a simple plug-and-play project like crested geckos, they have faded into absolute obscurity as of late, and that is horrible. And that's why today is such a absolute massive deal, because I'm going to be introducing a female Anoles Valencienni to my male. Now, folks, let's get into this box. Alright, folks, here she is, but just in, well, a box now. We just need to cut open the box with this knife here, but with complete control of the knife for her safety, and, well, my safety as well. Now, real quick, just trust me, this isn't your average pet store lizard or a pet store Anole. In fact, this is Anoles Valencienni. They are twig anoles from Jamaica, built to vanish on skinny branches. They're basically the ninjas of the Anole world. Blink once and poof, I tell you, they are gone. And look at this, she's out the box in this whole brand new world. She's looking around a bit in this deli cup, trying to basically get a grasp on the whole situation, figure out where she is. Who's this strange, tall, hairless ape standing next to her? And who's these 4 to 5 other people standing around her talking in the background? The audio's been cut out during the video if you can't tell. Now, something really cool about this Anole is behavior-wise, they're going to basically spend all their time in the whole world tricking everything around them, being from you, other Anole, other birds, whatever it is, thinking, oh hey, don't mind me, I'm a part of the tree. I'm gonna sit here and eat these ants, moths, whatever comes my way, because I'm just a twig that eats, moves, poops, lays eggs, and puffs out a doula, because they're just a twig. Folks, let's get that down, just a twig. Now, being completely honest, this female of Valencienni definitely didn't get here in the smoothest trip, simply because if you go all the way to Indianapolis, right, they got slammed really bad with some horrible storms, I tell you. The day she shipped out, which meant she was stuck in that little old box we just unpacked her from for longer than she should have ever been. That is honestly the ugly side of shipping reptiles. 9 times out of 10, it goes perfectly, it goes smooth. There's 0 problems. I've only ever had 1 problem this whole year, and that's her. But occasionally, you do have issues like this, and you do have to prepare for these situations. So in short, what we're doing for her is just giving her a nice little soak in the deli cup she arrived in. Just to get her some extra hydration, help her rehydrate before she goes into the enclosure and has to actually drink it off leaves, get it from the insects, etc., etc. So it's like a little boost, if you catch my drift.
Here's the thing, folks, about Anoles Valencienni, aka the Jamaican twig anole. They have been overlooked for far too long. Some may say a lot of years, and well, it is quite a lot of years if you ask me. But some may say the reason they are overlooked is because they're not as flashy as some anoles, like Anoles grama, a anole that they share some habitat with over in Jamaica. Or they're not as massive as, say, the blue beauty anoles, which is pretty huge and everyone loves them. Or the more common pet trait anole, which is the, false chameleons, the Cuban false chameleons, Anolis barbatus, which is another twig anole, like they are. But where Anoles Valencienni wins in this boat ride, I guess, wherever they take charge, is the fact that they are hyper-specialized animals. Crown giants, they're meant to go up in the top trees, prey everything below, be the top dogs. The false chameleons, they have a mix of being somewhat like a crown giant and a twig anole. They're a weird thing. They're kind of just say, hey, we're gonna do our own thing. But Anoles Valencienni, they said, we're gonna look at the twigs, or go to twigs, under the foliage on the twigs. We're gonna hang on there, and we're gonna move slowly. No one is gonna know where we are, because we are gonna be the twig ninjas. They're gonna hide under the foliage, walk on little thin branches that, quite frankly, if any other anole on that island went on, it would break, minus a handful of species. Most animals that would walk where they walk, they can't go. Because they're not the twig anole. Now, folks, out of all that little slop I just spout, there's only one way to truly put it. It's just pure specialization. It's interesting, it's fascinating, and it's unique. You don't see this a lot. You don't see a lot of people going after this in the reptile hobby. But me, I'm weird. I'm gonna put my green stuff, my time, my energy, everything I have into this rare little anole project. Oh, by the way, hey, since I have you here and we're done spouting about my hype,
let's up those numbers!
Glaze of the twig anole, I want to talk about how scientists over there, herpetologists, dug through their fecal matter. Well, there's a reason behind this. It's because they wanted to know what they're eating in the wild. What are they doing with all that stuff? How much of it are they digesting? In short, folks, what they learned is during the wet season, they're eating more soft-shelled insects, versus the dry season, you're seeing them digest and eat a lot more of the hard-bodied insects. And that's fascinating, that's cool, but folks at home, I'm curious if you've ever done that. Would you ever do that? Why would you? You know, me personally, I've done that. Not with this species, not with any reptiles yet, but back when I was, say, 10 years old, I was digging through owl pellets, right? Looking at what they were eating at a little field trip I went on. Probably one of the coolest things I've done with animals to, well, working with reptiles, if you ask me. Now, folks, since we're going to be done talking about digging through poop, we're going to be talking about the background of this female Valencienni. She came all the way from Florida from my buddy Crown Giant Anoles, or John Asher, Facebook or Instagram, pick your poison. But in short, his collection makes Jurassic Park look like a simple little pet pet. He keeps one of the largest breeding groups of Anoles Valencienni anywhere on this planet, unless you live in Jamaica and have a large property, if you catch my drift. Now, in short, without breeders like him maintaining these bloodlines, most of us would never even see a Jamaican twig Anole, let alone come to pairing them up like today. So in short, massive thank you to John. You know, he's doing a lot of cool stuff. He's helping me out a lot. And, you know, massive thank you to anyone who works with me. So, you know, this is the female. We just took her out the little soaking bin, all that fun stuff. And we're just going to let her, you know, walk on into the enclosure. Wow, look at that. Already darted off. It's a pretty little animal. Let that camera focus. Nice. Look at her doing all these Anole things. I think I saw the male somewhere down this way. If I can catch him. Well, we don't. Anyway, let's see.
This is the reptile version of Love Island, if you ask me.
Like, I kiss someone else. It's like, what, you're just gonna kiss the third person, fourth person, fifth person, until you actually go, oh, you actually know what? Yeah, I'm the people, because he likes me know.
Except instead of TV, drama, and cheap show tricks, it's UVB and branches and a lovely little nest box. Oh my. But he better not blow it, because I don't have a refund policy on a broken heart. This is not a Juice WRLD song.
I belong where I belong.
Now while we're here, take a look at their setup. Everything designed to mimic what they'd use and see in the wild. See that nest box? In Jamaica, females have been observed laying their eggs inside hollow trees, and sometimes multiple females will even share the same nest. Which sounds nice and wholesome and all that, until you realize that most females don't tolerate other female Valencienni when there is another male around. Now put 1 and 2 together. If there's eggs, fertile eggs being laid, well, a male is somewhere near, if you catch my drift. And then when they realize that, oh my, it will turn into a full-blown roommate drama.
Now while we're letting them get settled into their fun little 1-bedroom apartment, here is a fun part. Males typically run a little bit bigger and flash a massive oversized dewlap that's disproportionately larger than the rest of their body, if you ask me, on their neck. So if you ask me, it's kind of like a Vegas billboard permanently attached to their throat. Where with the female Valenciennis, they tend to be a little bit more calm, reserved. You catch my drift? Where they're gonna basically have the more simplified dewlap. It's not gonna be as big, it's not gonna be as colorful. It's still noticeable, still flashy, but just not screaming at you like, look at me. Look at me, I'm trying to get attention. Look, it's basically not doing that. Huh. Now it looks like they've gotten to make themselves at home a little bit.
Now folks, I want to revisit their enclosure. The details in their enclosure all have a very good purpose. From climbing perches with some exposed to UVB, alongside hiding spots that are just as simple of a cluster of sticks for them to go and cover and walk around, hide under the sticks, etc, etc. Then if we turn our attention over here to this little plant over here, I believe they're called a money tree. We have our male Valencienni actually using it for its intended purpose, which is to get in there, hide away from the other member of the enclosure, or, you know, guess what? Hide away from the UVB or direct heat. Now folks, I want to turn our attention all the way to the nesting site. As I mentioned earlier in the video, how they lay their eggs and how they typically do it in the wild, I thought the best way to emulate that was to basically create this little hub, you could say, made of plastic, has moss in it, and it's basically going to allow them to get in there, hide their eggs, lay it, walk away, and dip. Now if everything goes to plan, we'll be having some eggs in here. But the other interesting thing about these Valencienni is they are a little different than your average Anole. Most Anoles like superhuman environments for their eggs, where Valencienni prefers a slightly more drier environment for said eggs, so it makes them a little bit harder to hatch like this whole video's premise has been. But if everything goes to plan, we'll have little babies running around.
Now folks, I didn't even want to mention this part, and honestly at the moment of filming I still don't even know how to properly go about saying this, because I've never done this before, and I don't know, it's complex, people. It's complex for me. Give me it. Because it felt like to me that I was failing this project to this species, which is a big deal to me because I put my species before many things, you know. I'm very much making sure that my animals are going to be good before I give my drift. But during my move into this big old little reptile house we got now, the female passed away. Now, going by everything I got to see, and from what I know about animals, and then reptiles, and then anoles, I personally believe it's from stress. Day one, perfectly normal animal. Next thing you know, she starts showing a little bit of signs of stress. Nothing crazy, nothing to start, you know, losing the mind over, if you catch my drift. Then the day after that, it's a little more concerning. So the next day in the morning, you proceed to just take her out, move her to basically a mini version of their enclosure, has the UVB heat bulb and the computer fan for airflow. And the day after that, you're going to check on her, see if she's doing better, if she's going to eat a little bit more, and she's dead. And that sucked. It's really bad. Like, I don't know how to properly put that into words, because I spent a lot of time looking for this species, and I really liked that female. You know, she tongue fed for me. She was gorgeous. I mean, she's been used for most of the clips for this video as well. She's the bright orange one you've seen throughout this video. She's gorgeous, and it personally just, it sucks like really bad that she's dead, and I didn't even get a chance to properly incubate her young. Yeah, we're gonna let the ending guy, you know, the ending version of Cameron come in.
2 hours later.
And folks, that's why this project matters. It's not just about pairing one male, one female twig anole, and, you know, hoping for the best, hatching out little baby anoles and saying hoorah. It's about basically sitting down, bring all my information together, and paving it the way for the next generation. You know, I can do this, it's gonna be cool, but I want to see what the guy over here is gonna do with this. Get what I'm saying? Anyways, like, sub, share, all the stuff. Watch this playlist.